the robot was injected with human genes. Human blood was pumped into its system. Not long after, the blood began to circulate. It quickly flowed upwards toward its brain and spread throughout its entire body until it reached the chest. At this point, the once white steel had turned red. Unlike traditional robots, this one, powered by human blood, was about to develop human emotions. Soon, the robot came back to life and was able to stand up straight to make it more human-like. The scientists placed a human brain inside the robot's skull. As the skull closed, half of the experiment was complete. Next, the robot was placed in amniotic fluid to await further development. Soon, the robot, like an infant, was wrapped up inside. At this stage, the transformation reached a critical step. The bionic capillaries began to grow inside, connecting the different parts of its body. Once the brain was integrated, it would be able to think independently, just like a human. Before long, the robot's body was fully transformed. A bionic mask covered its brain, sealing it closed. The connected tubes were then removed. At this point, the robot's skeleton and capillaries were just like those of a human. Next, it was placed in amniotic fluid containing human blood. This ensured that its skin and blood would be identical to that of a human. As its body floated upward, the robot's head emerged. Its body had turned pale, and its skin began to mutate. Before long, its body was floating on the surface. Now, it was time to wait for its evolution. Soon, its entire body was covered by the placenta. The humanoid shape began to appear. Then, the scientist took a scalpel, carefully cutting open the placenta on its forehead, from top to bottom. This was the moment of truth. As the scientist tore away the placenta, the robot now had a fully human face, and its eyes had a spark of life. But they didn't know that disaster was about to strike. At this moment, the scientists began testing its loyalty. To their surprise, the robot grabbed the scientist's arm. Luckily, it didn't harm him, but instead released its grip. Next, the scientist placed a spider into a tube connected to the robot's head. This time, the robot began to tremble in fear. This reaction was identical to that of a human, confirming that it possessed female genes. But the next test left the scientists in shock. A scientist disguised as a clown was killed by the robot. Only then did they realize that the robot was, after all, cold-blooded. To continue their research, the scientists tied the robot up and cut a hole in its head. They removed the human consciousness from inside. This time, the robot showed no reaction. Its consciousness would be forever frozen in time.